Indonesian fisher Ferry Raharjo is relieved to be back on dry land. He spent 15 grueling months at sea catching tuna on board a Taiwanese fishing ship. It was only when he got back to port that he found out he hadn't been paid. And worse, while he was on the ship, his wife had a miscarriage.
Ya, saya menyesal karena nggak mendampingin istri saya melahirkan. Saya merasa bersalah. Sampai saya nggak bisa kirim uang sepeser pun, saya merasa berdosa lah istilahnya.
He's one of 10 crew members on the Taiwan flagged ship Hsueh, who say they were tricked into such a long voyage and suffered abuse at the hands of their captain without enough food, drinking water and medicine. While on the ship, they slept just a few hours a day and only received their salaries weeks after returning to shore. The ship's owners, a Taiwanese husband and wife, reject the accusations of mistreatment and say payments were delayed because they ran into financial trouble.
But the ship's crew and human rights activists warn that this case is indicative of the abuse migrant fishers working on Taiwanese ships receive at sea. Taiwan has the second largest distant water fishing fleet in the world, made up of more than 1,000 ships like these. They usually spend months at sea without docking at port and rely on the work of tens of thousands of migrant labourers, mainly from the Philippines and Indonesia. These migrants do not receive the same labour rights protections as other workers in Taiwan. The country's tuna industry is worth $1.3 billion each year, but many fishers say they're recruited with false promises and forced to work under poor conditions by employers and agents who withhold their passports and wages.
There are systematic failures that led to their condition, such as no means of communication at sea, expensive and limited options while they are in distant ports, and this is the norm for the fishers.
The government knows the situation for migrant fishers is a stain on the country's strong human rights record, and officials say they've been trying to clean up the industry.
所以我们在人权计划里面也有编列预算去补助 WiFi 的设备。另外，在那个内政部移民署他们的人口贩运防治法的规定，你如果违反了人口贩运防治的规定的话，我们就会移送检调单位去裁处啊。
But the industry is struggling from dwindling sea stock and rising operational costs, increasing pressure on those at sea and on shore. Migrant fishers, like the crew of Hsueh, bear the brunt of the industry's dangerous, labour-intensive work. But, they say, there is a limit to what they can endure to give their families back home a better life. Andy Hsueh and Glauert in Pingdong County for TaiwanPlus.